Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and we are with UrbanDigs. And Johnny, we are talking Manhattan today. We got a good one. We got a returning team. I love these guys. We got Louis Adler. We got Robert Rahmanian, Real New York. Johnny, this is a fast-growing company. I think they got more than 150 agents now. Very impressive. Real smart guys. We got them for the next 15, 20 minutes. They're going to pass on to us boots on the ground intel, what they're seeing in the New York City real estate market. We'll get a little rental market. We'll get a little new development conversion intel. It's going to be fun. Johnny, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to extract some knowledge and put it in my pocket. So
let's extract it. Let's extract those nuggets of wisdom. Thank you, guys. Louis, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to get to both of you, but Louis, let's start with you. Tell everyone we want to know what the hell is going on with the New York City real estate market right now.
Well, first off, Noah, John, thanks for having us on. It's an honor. Thanks for having us back. Well, first off, the rental market is undersupplied. You know, it's been a long time since we've had a program that's really incentivized developers to build without a program that is similar to 421A, which is allowing them to build up, not capping them at 99 units like 45X is. We're going to continue to see that undersupply. So renters are going to continue to see rents creep up. Developers are going to continue to see land that isn't pencilable, I should say, because construction costs are so high.
How long does that go on for? Real quick, Louis.
No end in sight. It goes on for when the administration in New York decides to team up with the private sector and actually create a platform where we can build more units.
So you want the government to help? Interesting.
It's the only way. It's the only way. And quite frankly, they haven't been helping. Everything that they've been putting out there has really limited housing, has only increased rents. So it's an issue.
Yeah. So Robert, let me ask you, how does this flow through to the sales market? I know we got stuff on the rental side in terms of, supply being sort of, it is what it is, and it's not really increasing at that point. Are you seeing any sort of movement to the sales side from that?
Well, we're seeing the sales market battle with the rental market. Both are really expensive right now. It's really tough to find, make sense of the sales market, especially with the new developments that are coming out in the condo market. The prices are sky high. I don't know who's able to afford it in our, demographic, call it. So interest rates are still high. People are getting comfortable, I guess, but it's not exploding by any means. Therefore, a lot of people who are looking to live in Manhattan and buy in Manhattan are ending up renting in Manhattan. And that's what's propped up the rental market as well. Rents are very high on that side. But when you do the math, it still makes sense to rent on a month-to-month basis versus taking on the mortgage and the common charges and all the carry that goes into buying. So I
want to follow up with both of you guys because I think you both brought up some interesting points, and I think, Louis, I'll focus on you for the rental side, and then the same question for you, Robert. Both you guys can switch it up if you want. I'm interested in sort of the pent-up aspects of demand and supply. One of the things we've seen in the rental market is if something great hits the market, it's gone instantaneously simply because we don't have that supply. What is your thought on the sales market in terms of the pent-up supply, pent-up demand? Are we at a market that's sort of like ready to go? It just needs a little bit of a push, or how do you feel about that?
So I'll start with the rental side, right? So, first off, the supply is so limited, right? That's the name of the game right now, right? We're just not creating enough supply to keep up with the demand. So to Rob's point, interest rates are up. People are a little nervous about the current administration. They're wondering what's going to happen to condo pricing. So it's really keeping a lot of tenants within the rental cycle that would be pushing into buying. So, we think we'll get a little more vision on when that pent up buy demand is really going to push into the new development world after 6 months, when people feel more comfortable with the administration, they feel more comfortable where rates are going to be. I think that's when you're going to see that real push.
Yeah, I agree with that. I got one more question before we go to the next question. I got to stay on the first question. 485X, is that what you said, Louis?
Yeah, 45X.
Right. Talk to me like I'm a Labrador Retriever. What's going on there?
So 45X is a tax incentive program for developers to build new rental product. It's similar to are you guys familiar with 421A tax abatement?
Yes.
So it filled in the gap of the 421A. So when 421A expired 2 years ago, the administration put in 485X. The issue with 485X that Rob and I are seeing, because we're doing a ton of pre-development work right now, is that it really incentivizes developers to build 99 units and below new developments. Because once you go above that 99 unit, you have to pay labor prevailing wage, and your construction costs skyrocket. Okay. So we're gonna look back 100 years from now, and you're gonna be like, why are all new developments in New York City 99 units and below? That's the reason. Not enough developers are talking about it.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's talk about that.
And if I may,
conversion of pipeline. Yeah, please go ahead, Robert.
No, I was going to say with the 485X program, it's leading to bigger units and less apartments, which is only increasing the rent. So it's really not working. Goes back to what we talked about in terms of regulation and over governance with these buildings going up. And to talk about supply and demand for a second, John, to go on to that on the rental side, we work on a lot of new developments. It sounds like we're going to get into that a bit. And anytime we launch a new building, the demand is through the roof. I mean, we have waiting lists for buildings that are coming out in a few months from now that are just, it's really amazing to see. Everybody, as expensive as it is, this new development rental game, people are still willing to spend to be in that new shiny building.
Well, yeah, so that's exactly what I want to talk about. I want to talk about some of the new shiny aspects of these buildings. And I'm wondering, obviously we have a lack of supply, so you have that factor as well. But what about like the amenity lifestyle choices that developers are making? Where's the action these days, and how much of these are contributing to sort of like, oh, people raising their hand saying, I want to be in that building because it's got, in-house dog grooming and a rock climbing wall and wine storage in the basement or something like that, right? It's always something.
Yeah, amenities are incredibly important, but you need scale to get the right amenities into a certain type of building. So you have these 99 unit buildings that you're fighting for every bit of square footage, and you have maybe 5,000 square feet of amenity space. And what are we asking our developers to put in that's absolutely necessary is co-working spaces, a gym, and like a pet grooming, because that's so small of a space that you need to dedicate.
Cold plunge, saunas, red light therapy. I feel like it's going all down that route.
Yeah, that's definitely the next wave. And that's like the spa level, make your building feel like it's a wellness retreat. And we're seeing that in a few of our buildings right now, actually, where there's a hospital to residential conversion we're working on East 17th. They have about 20,000 square feet of amenity space. That's because it was an old hospital that they converted, and they had all this big basement that they could use. So they first started with a cold plunge and a pool. Now it's become more of just a sauna, steam, and just a lounge spa area. But in a bigger development we're working on the corner of 37th and 6th, Casoni, that's 5 levels of amenity space. It's 284 rentals, 27 condos at the top, and we're going to have 2 floors dedicated to wellness. One is a full gym, and the other floor is going to be a pool, spa, steam, sauna, treatment rooms. So that's really exciting. And I think when you can, a golf simulator room or any sort of VR type of experience. Again, yeah, I'm not a golfer, but I imagine if it's an addicting sport and you want to get out and play as much as you can. So in New York, you have the golf simulators, right?
Well, I think I might speak for a lot of people out there. I am a terrible golfer, but I thoroughly enjoy golfing, and just the idea of it being cold out there and going to a golf simulator and just stepping. I don't know. It just sounds good.
I think Noah wants to buy some guest passes.
Yeah, I want to buy some guest passes. Bring me in. But guys, tell me about. You told me about a couple buildings, guys. Tell me in general what's going on. What's the new dev conversion pipeline? Upcoming hotspots for new inventory. Just tell me what's happening there.
Absolutely. So conversions are the flavor of the month. Very, very exciting right now because it's bringing housing to the market in 18 months. So it's actually helping with the issue that we have, which is not enough housing in New York City. Those conversions are mostly happening in financial district. That's where all those old office buildings, Class B, Class C office buildings that just don't work anymore are now being converted to residential. And it's only happening because of the 467M program. That's the tax abatement program for conversions. So we're seeing a lot of office to resi conversion in financial district. We're seeing a lot of it happening in Midtown West, Midtown East. And as we discussed, the hospital to residential conversions and the hotel to residential conversions, those are all happening in mostly Midtown and financial district.
Conversions to rentals or sales or both?
Mostly rentals.
Yeah, they're mostly rentals, and they're creating like an optionality in the marketplace, which is exciting. With the new development that's been happening over the last 20 years, it's kind of been a race to efficiency. Rob and I can pretty much map that floor plan out real quickly. 8 by 10 bedroom, 10 by 12 living room. With these deep layouts in the conversion that you get from an office building, you're getting these unique layouts where you have an office, you have potentially like a small nursery area, deep layouts, which, quite frankly, they're providing more of a value to the tenancy, where a conversion play might be 90 to 110 a foot, and a new development might be 120 to 180 a foot these days when you're penciling out a new development rental project in Manhattan.
Right. You talk about these conversions, you talk about some of the positive changes that have happened in these neighborhoods. And I'm wondering, what is it like on the day-to-day walking the street of these neighborhoods? How do those positive changes affect the neighborhood from these conversions happening? And what does that imply for the neighborhoods going forward for the next 5-10 years? Feel free to put on your future hats.
Yeah, I think one thing we're going to see is a lot more walk to work, right? Where Rob pointed out, you're seeing a lot of these conversion plays are old office buildings in Midtown and FiDi. So that's going to pull a tenancy to those areas that once didn't exist, thousands and thousands of units. So it's going to create, where it was once neighborhoods like FiDi and Midtown where they'd go a little dark at night, there's going to be an attraction to retail. There's going to be attraction to restaurants, bars, more exciting nightlife, because there's going to be a tendency to uphold it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the financial district in the early 2000s, pre-zoning change in 9/11, it wasn't a place that you would want to live in. It wasn't very clean. It had a stigma. And over the 10 years that came after that, a ton of housing was built and the neighborhood was built up because of it. And now it's become a tourist attraction. It's become a very, very beautiful place to live and eat and play and sleep and whatever it is. So I think the financial district and what happened in the last 20 years is a great example of what may come to Midtown.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I was working down there 20 years ago, and I remember when the markets closed at 4, the place turned into a ghost town pretty much overnight. The bars were still open, but other than that, it was like the area cleared out pretty quickly. And what was interesting, I'm just going to go into my soapbox for a second. What was interesting is post-pandemic, when we saw the city open back up, it was the residential areas, the Upper East, the Upper West, that really sort of transitioned first. And I'm wondering, just as sort of a follow-up, if you're seeing more of the action still in these more solid residential neighborhoods, or you're still seeing a lot of the conversion, the new rental activity sort of in the more transitioning neighborhoods, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, please, Rob.
Well, I mean, I live in the Upper East Side. I've seen what's happened even in the last couple of years since COVID. It's exploded. And that's because of the retail, in my opinion, what's come in terms of high-end clubs and restaurants, but also Second Avenue has completely flourished and bloomed in a way that we all envisioned, but it's now happening. And so new developments and rentals that are coming to the Upper East Side are exploding. The condo market, you guys know better than me, is absolutely on fire. And I'm sure that it's similarly happening in the Upper West Side. I'm just exposed to it in the Upper East, right? Please, Lou.
Yeah, and what you're going to see, because of the 485X capping the unit count to 99 units, it's really not going to pencil to go rental new development moving forward. We're going to see a lot more condos than rentals, unless you're able to do the conversion plays that we're discussing. So that creates a different kind of tendency and a different kind of area, like to build a new development on the Upper East Side in the West Village, and to make that pencil out in rental, it's going to be very, very difficult.
I mean, it just sounds like you're painting a very, very thin environment of supply and inventory for years to come. Like, this is not something that's changing anytime soon. Is that an accurate statement?
We feel extremely confident there.
Yeah, very, very confident, like Lou just said. And I have to tell you, we speak to a lot of developers and owners. They tell us the rents are too high. I'm expecting rent to go down the next year.
But it's still cheaper to rent. That's the crazy thing, is that the sales, if I want to buy something, it's here. If I want to rent something, it's here. And what's happened is the sales one never moved in 10 years, and the rental one's just been coming up, and there's still a gap.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but the fact that there's no inventory coming, we're going to continue to see rents go up. It just
kind of agree.
Sorry, Noah. Go ahead. I have a.
No, I was just gonna say, if it goes down, it would be like, small down moves in an otherwise broader uptrend. That's all I was gonna say.
Well, I was gonna say, sorry, Robert. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I apologize. I'm just very passionate about this. So
I can't wait to see what John's question is next. I'm really excited about it.
Remember it.
Go ahead, Robert.
No, all this new development, all these new conversions that are coming to Midtown, that's going to cause downward pressure on buildings that need a little bit of renovations, need a little bit of I guess, sprucing up. So please, John.
No, so my question is, I mean, so often we talk about the Fair Act, so often we talk about government regulation. It's the landlords that are painted as sort of like just pushing rents higher and higher and higher, gentrifying spaces, raising the rent, et cetera. And I get that that is the business model, right? You want to have the rent to pay the expenses, right? You have to make a profit on the building. I get that. But I'm also curious, I mean, from your point of view, it almost sounds like some of the developers are actually interested in rents coming down a little bit to sort of really sort of make sure that they've got a fully occupied building, just at a sense that, in a sense. Does that make sense?
Especially the more active landlords. I think more active landlords realize that the only way that they can continue to build is if there's a system in place to build more product, right? Incentive like 45X that actually allows you to build more than 99 units. If you are a landlord that has free market product in New York City and you're not actively building and buying more, you're very okay with the current structure, because the current structure is just going to have rents going up and up and up. They know that the only way rents go down is if there's more supply. And we really don't have a program with the private sector right now that's going to allow for that. So it's not a greedy landlord problem. It's New York City doesn't allow you to build an apartment problem.
Right. Okay, let me get rid of this phone call real quick here. All right, guys, we talked about change. We talked about industry change. We talked about the conversion pipeline a little bit. Guys, what are you doing daily to keep busy over here, guys? I mean, you're still transacting, right? At a high level, I believe. So tell me what you do. What are you doing to make the big bucks these days? Tell me your secret sauce.
A little bit of everything. I mean, literally, Lou and I have been both in the business for 15 years each. The referral business and pipeline is always going, and it's daily at this point. So let me start here. There's been a lot of consolidation in our industry, and running a brokerage isn't what it used to be, but at times it's a lot tougher than what it used to be, and at times it's a lot easier because there's just less competition with what's happening with Compass, Anywhere, Element, whatever you want to call it. So we are busy and we're doing it all. We're very excited about the new development division, as you can tell. We're doing re-rentals all the time. We built out a commercial division over the last decade that is standing on its own now, and we're doing great on the sales market. So that's our day-to-day. That's real New York. That's where we're spending most of our time. But outside of that, Lou and I are doing some high-end transactions. We're investing a bit, and we're building out our landlord referral program, or I should say our landlord program, through our landlord forum, which is really exciting. We get on a podcast or we get on a webinar just like this, and we go and talk about regulation, what's changing, what's happening with our landlords. So we are very proud of the guidance and the ambassadors we are for our landlord community.
Very cool. Louis, you have any thoughts you want to add on here?
Yeah, I mean, we currently have about 2,000 plus pre-development units in the pipeline. That's been a big focus of Rob and I's, and it took us over 10 years to create that pipeline. And that's been growing extensively because we have the data, because we have the market knowledge that our developers need, not to have a full leasing in-house program. So they come to us, they say, hey, what should we pro forma this building for? What should we pro forma, the rentals? If I can do X amenities, if I can do Y doorman, how do I create the highest price per square foot with the least vacancies? So that's been a pipeline that's taken us, well over a decade to create. Rob and I stay in action. We're constantly creating these relationships and leveraging them to get more product. And to Rob's point, it's been a nice niche that we look to expand on. And we have an amazing team to back us up with it.
Well, Lou, I think you said something really interesting there, and I think it really gets to the point of what it means to be an agent these days. And you said you've basically been putting something into place over a decade, and it's starting to pay its dividends now. And we're running short of time, so I'm going to throw this out both to you, Lou, and to you, Robert. I'm very curious, if you could go back in time, meet your younger self as soon as they got started in this industry, what's the one piece of advice you would have liked to known right at the get-go?
I think one thing that I would recommend these agents to be known for something. Rob and I, when we started, we were the Lower East Side guys. We planted our flag in the Lower East Side. When we saw someone walking around in a suit, we knew they were either lost or they were buying a property in the neighborhood. So we would chase them down and say, hey, what are you buying and how can we help? Everyone would send referrals our ways from other landlords that were acquiring properties in the Lower East Side and say, Rob and Lou were the Lower East Side brokers. You need to work with them. And then our landlords started buying outside of Lower East Side. So we naturally grew with those landlords, developer relationships. So very much be known for something, have a niche.
Yeah, I love that, Lou. And for me, it would just be outwork everyone. I know it sounds really cliche, but what we've seen in this last decade is a ton of changes. Every 2 or 3 years, something changes. There's a big shift in our market. And if you're new in this business and you're just getting started, the only way to get to the top is to outwork everyone at the same time for these changes to happen so that you are that person that gets up next. And I think that's something that Lou and I have learned throughout this last decade, whether it was COVID, whether it was the FAIR Act, whether it was the 2019 rent laws. We just kept our heads down. And while others were distracted or, they were comfortable because they were at the top before this big change of regulation, we just kept our head down. We just kept working hard. And we realized that those people kind of phased out and fizzled out. And
Yeah, the benefits compound, Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's one thing I love about this podcast, when we have top producers and agents on, it's asking their advice, and it all falls into some serious similar buckets, and it's really interesting because everyone has a different way of doing it, but in the end, the advice is very, very similar, and everything you said is exactly something that Bob Knackel would have said, when we interviewed him, which is like, find your niche and outwork everyone. I mean, it all kind of you have your own style of working, but you follow some very simple precepts, and you'll make it to the top. So I thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got to go get it. You got to go get it. And it's a grind, and you got to adapt. Otherwise you die. And we're certainly in an adapting, changing world. So we have to do it right now. And I agree with John. I just want to echo something. I thank you guys. I thank everyone that comes on this show. We're all trying to help each other and pass on all these different pieces of intelligence and success stories and productivity tips. And that's what it's all about, because you're right, John. There's a formula. There's a method to the madness, and you guys are rocking it. So thank you guys, Robert Rahmanian, Louis Adler of Real New York. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys. You guys were great. That is John Walkup. I am Noah Rosenblatt. We are both with UrbanDigs. It's been Talking Manhattan, and we'll catch you next time.